Well, I've finally got a half decent day, not much wind, so I thought I would at long last do a review of my atom packs. I've promised a few people on the channel that I do this quite a while back, but it's been really challenging trying to find the right weather to do it, because obviously you need to get yourself half decent weather for a review. This kind of thing is the downside to wearing big ass backpacks. Oh, that does it. Ah! So while I'm hiking up through here, I'll give you a little look around at the backpack in action, as it were. So I got these backpacks made a couple of years ago now by a company called Atom Packs in Keswick, England. There's always a lot of road noise here because of the A55, so I'm going to try and find myself a little spot where I can avoid as much of that as possible. Right, well, I've got up to the top. The road noise isn't too bad here, so I think this is as good a spot as any to do my little review of the Atom Packs. So as I said before, I had my Atom Packs built around about 2 years ago, and that was back when Tom, who's the owner of Atom Packs, that's when he was doing more custom work. I don't think he does any custom work at all now. I think it's just all kind of customised on the website. You can change the colours and things like that, but he doesn't really do any bespoke work. And to be honest, it's quite likely that I'm the reason why he doesn't do any more bespoke work, because I'm sure I was a royal pain in his arse. But to be honest, he was an absolute pleasure to work with. He was really enthusiastic, and he's done an absolutely cracking job of my packs. So a few years ago, I told him that I would probably end up making a video. So this is a hell of a lot later than he probably expected. But he did tell me to say that these were prototypes. Now, personally, I don't think I need to say that, because they are of marketable quality, what he's produced. But I do completely understand why he's asked me to say that. I'm sure if he kind of did, you know, various generations of this, he would have refined it. But it works exactly how I envisaged, if not better. So I used to be a complete pack rat. I'd have about 15 packs at any one time, and none of them ever worked right. There was things I liked about them, but then things that I didn't think worked well. So what I did is I came up with a design that essentially just kind of brought in all of the best ideas from all of the packs that I owned, and a few kind of extra little ideas that I came up with myself. So what I ended up doing was getting a bit of material and putting a couple of kind of mock designs together. I drove up to Keswick and met with Tom, and he was quite inspired by the design, and he agreed that they would work quite well. So I liaised with Tom kind of back and forth by email for the next couple of weeks. And what Tom did is he refined the designs that I gave him and absolutely perfected them. They're better pretty much in every way than my original designs. Really, really happy. So essentially the backpacks are designed to kind of work as a standalone, but then there's like a crampon pouch that I can attach to them, or a kind of utility pouch that can be added. The utility pouch in particular it's absolutely ridiculous. It's like a TARDIS. It can hold so much in there, and when it's not being used, it folds up into nothing. So I ended up getting a set of two made, one 60 litre and one 35 litre. So the 35 litre backpack that I've got is based mostly on his Atom model, except for the fact that it's got a kind of full-on hip belt on it. I find that whenever I'm carrying any sort of weight, 4 kilograms or above, I'm always going to want to wear a hip belt. And whenever I use these backpacks, I'm always going to have 4 kilograms or more. So I didn't really see the point in having a detachable hip belt, because it's pretty much always going to be on there. So I'll take off the backpack and we can go through everything. So this is the 60 litre backpack that I've got, which is based on the Mo, or the Prospector as it's now called. Everything on the front is pretty much standard to kind of what the Mo would be. Got load lifters, nice comfortable shoulder straps, shoulder strap pockets, which are really quite handy. One of the things that I've actually got on this pack that he no longer does is a zip at this point, which is really handy for kind of keeping your head torch or your kind of emergency kit in there. One thing that I do find about this is I've got this on both backpacks, and it's mostly usable on the Mo because of the way that there's actually a frame there. On the 35 litre pack, once you've filled the pack, it actually becomes a bit dead, the space, you can't really use it. You can fit this in there still, so I tend to always have this in regardless. So the Mo has a kind of dual webbing hip belt, so much kind of thicker than what you'd find on the Atom or the Pulse models. And then on each side of the hip belt is a hip belt pocket, and these pouches are detachable, so you take them off and you put them on either of the two packs, which is quite handy. These particular ones are actually made by a company called ULTRALIGHT gear. I've actually got quite a lot of stuff from ULTRALIGHT gear. His workmanship is absolutely fantastic. The quality is just ridiculous. The only reason why I use these and not the Atom Pack versions is the Atom Pack versions that I own are actually quite a lot smaller. There is version 1s, and I've noticed that he actually does do kind of bigger versions now. And the only reason why I've not bought his new versions of these is that he does them in a kind of checkered material, Robic I think it's called, and I've got quite bad OCD when it comes to things like that, and I just don't like the checkered pattern at all. In fact, one of the design features of both of my packs is that there is no checkered kind of material anywhere. So I think as standard, all of the straps are all done in a kind of checkered material, but I got him to kind of do them in the same material as the outside. Now, generally speaking, most Atom packs are really quite colourful. So as I said before, I used to be a bit of a pack rat, and I used to have different sizes and different colours for my backpacks. And what I'd find is, let's say I went out and I was wearing this yellow top, the backpack that I would need for my little adventure that day would be something like a 20 litre, but I wouldn't have a yellow backpack for 20 litres. And I know that sounds absolutely mad. Let's say that the backpack was blue, I wouldn't be able to wear it. It sounds absolutely crazy. I mean, as you can see, I always try to colour coordinate, and I don't really know why that is. It just is one of those things. I do it with everything. So as a result, I pretty much got rid of almost all of my packs, and I replaced them with these two packs. And one of the things I did to save me sanity was make them neutral colours. So this one's grey and my 35 litre one is white. That way I can just wear them whenever I need to wear them and not have to worry about the colour. As I say, absolutely balmy, but that is how my brain works. Anyway, so I've actually stripped off quite a lot of the features of the standard Atom pack, such as the kind of top strap, because I just found that, again, I never use it. I'm quite a neat backpacker, so it's very rare that you'll see anything outside of my backpack. The exception being what I have in these two side pockets. So you'll see like my tent pegs sticking out or something like that. I'm not the kind of person who will have like a roll mat underneath, anything like that. Essentially, if I can't fit it on the inside, in this pouch or in these pockets, I'm not going to carry it. So having like kind of an over-the-top strap for like kind of bear cans and things like that, it's not something that I'm going to use. So that got stripped away. Atom packs all have a roll top system, and what this essentially means is that this 60 can probably roll all the way down to 40, and my 35 can probably roll all the way down to 20. So between the two, that means that the 35 and the 40 kind of meet in the middle. So I've got everything from a 20 litre all the way through to a 60 litre. So because of that, I don't really need a shite load of packs like I used to have. I can just get away with these two. I do have some other packs and things, but they're just for day hiking and they're all neutral. So as you can see here now, this is the utility pouch, and I've kind of packed this pretty much as full as it can go. It is a bit of a TARDIS this. It's absolutely ridiculous how much stuff can fit in it. And it folds down completely flat, and you can roll it to the size of a Cuban cigar. So the design of the utility pouch and the backpack and the way that they connect together is done in a way that allows for this channel down the sides, which is just the right size to have a technical ice axe in there. So in a second I'll take this off and I'll show you kind of how the backpack looks without the utility pouch. So even though this is a 60 litre backpack, I imagine that this can hold maybe another 8 or 10 litres. It's really quite surprising what you can fit in there. So everything taken into account, I can kind of pack away maybe 70 litres. So multi-day camps are no problem whatsoever. So this utility pouch attaches using 4 little attachment points onto some webbing that's on the main backpack. Really easy to take off and put back on, and because both of the backpacks, the 35 and the 60, use exactly the same system, it's transferable between both. So essentially what it does is it can turn the 60 litre into maybe a 70 litre, and it can turn the 35 litre into perhaps a 45 litre. So as I said before, between all of the different variations that you can do with the modular design, you can pretty much get a backpack that'll go anywhere from 20 litres all the way through to 70 litres just between these two backpacks. So it really is a brilliant system. So I'll just take this off now. So the utility pouch is a brilliant design, even if I do say so myself. Tom took this design and just took it to the next level, and it's absolutely brilliant the way that it works. So the shape of it's slightly wider at the top and a little bit kind of narrower at the bottom, which kind of matches the shape of the backpack. It uses two zips, which you can kind of choose to have at the top, the bottom, the middle, wherever. And I'll just open it now just so you can see kind of what's inside this at the moment. So at the moment I've got a kind of insulated jacket. I've got a chair, which is the Helionox Zero chair, and I've got my 35 litre backpack, which is the second in my little set. So I'm just going to put this aside. So now that I've emptied this little pouch, you can see the kind of design of it. It's a kind of concertina design. It's the same on each side, and it allows the pouch to lay completely flat. So the utility pouch weighs 118 grams and can easily be rolled away. And stored in your backpack when it's not being used. So I'll just put this pouch out the way just for a quick second. So as you can see now, this is the design of the actual backpack without the pouch on there. So as you can see, there's room for two technical ice axes on there. They attach securely at the bottom here using this little triangle system and a buckle. You would have seen that before on kind of many other backpacks. It's quite standard. And at the top, they connect just using this little elastic bungee and kind of cinch cord thing. So it's really easy to take out these ice axes and put them back in. You just use the little elastic toggle at the top and the little clip at the bottom. And then once you've done that, they just come straight out. It's really handy. These are ultralight ice axes. I do have some kind of more heavy duty technical ice axes, and they fit in here just as easily. So when this backpack's not being used for winter, you can just have the straps there, and this is now just a kind of standard backpack. Now that I've took away the ice axes and the utility pouch, you can see the main differences on this panel between the standard Mo and my kind of design here. There's two lots of webbing down the side and in the centre. These are really, really useful for being able to attach different things with carabiners. So webbing is really simple but really kind of flexible. It just means that you can attach things. So at the moment I've got the bungee things attached on one of them, but you can use carabiners to clip whatever you want on there. Obviously the utility pouch clips into the corners on the webbing. I've even got like a little solar panel so that when I'm doing like kind of multi-day summer hikes, I can just kind of clip the solar panel onto the back and just kind of charges me power pack as I hike around. So the idea here really ultralight, really simple, really flexible. The second part of the modular design is a crampon pouch, which I've currently got in one of these side pockets there. So this crampon pouch is a really simple design, but again very effective. It's designed to clip into the central webbing on the panel here. So this crampon pouch weighs 92 grams and attaches using these buckles and clips onto the webbing here on the panel. So this is the crampon pouch, and as you can see on each side there's two little kind of buckles and a strap that goes around. The strap is used to secure itself to the back, which I'll show you in a second, and then there's just a YKK waterproof zip that goes over the top. Really easy to open and just easy to access. So even though this is designed specifically for crampons, it actually can be used for pretty much anything else. So if I've only just gone over the kind of maximum capacity of this, but I don't have enough stuff to warrant having the big kind of utility pouch on the back, then I can just attach this and just add like a small amount of things in there. So this would easily fit a down jacket or some cooking stuff in there. So again, it's all modular, all very flexible. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to show you how this would attach onto the back panel. So there are two straps on either side, and you essentially thread each strap through the webbing and attach it. Do the same on both sides. Once you've done that, you've got a very, very floppy kind of pouch, but you then just cinch them in so you can bring in each of the straps. And what you've got now is a really secure crampon pouch that stays in place. Obviously, if I was using this for something else other than crampons, maybe it was going to be puffed out with a jacket or something, I wouldn't need to cinch these in so tight and it wouldn't move as much. But essentially that's how this works. While it's on, you can just unzip it, take your crampons out, put them on, and then you can either leave the pouch on or just really quickly unclip, unfasten, and then this is going to fold up into pretty much nothing. You can just put this into one of the pockets at the side. So really handy, nice and clean, so it doesn't get in the way when you then start doing your climbing. So the standard Prospector backpack weighs 900 grams and this one weighs 995 grams. The extra 95 grams on this particular pack are for a few reasons. Because I've got the zip, because of the design on the back, which is going to be slightly heavier than the original, and also because I've got two kind of metal rods going on the back for support rather than the standard one going through the middle. I've chosen to have two in mine for two reasons. One, because I think if you've just got the one going down the middle, there's a chance that it might kind of put a little bit of pressure on your spine. So I've got one either side of your spine, which kind of curves around it very, very slightly. And secondly, because this is a winter pack, it's always going to be kind of pushing the top end of the weight limit on it. So that just allows for it to be a little bit more comfortable. So the backpack itself, 995 grams. And as I said before, 118 grams, I think I said it was, for the utility pouch. So altogether, fully loaded, you're looking at just under 1.2 kilograms, which is still very lightweight, but it's a fully functional winter backpack that's going to allow me to camp for kind of a week or so at a time in the winter. Which always requires that little bit of extra weight anyway. So the backpacks have side pockets which are designed really to put drinks in there, but because I'm not particularly flexible, I find that I can never really reach around. So I just tend to use these for additional storage. As you can see on this side there, I've got my little tent peg pouch. So I'll just put my backpack back on and then show you kind of these pockets in action. So I use two sternum straps on my backpacks. I think that it brings it in and makes it a little bit more comfortable, but it also allows me to use the top one to have the hyperlight mountain gear. I think it's called the vice versa, which is basically just a fanny pack, or a bum bag as we call it in England. This is dead simple. It's just got like a little kind of passage that goes through. So all you do is you take off your strap, thread it through the first one, then thread it through the second one. There we go. And then you just clip it in there. So now you've got a kind of a little chest pouch going on there. This is what I use to put my drone in, or my camera, depending on whether I'm going out hiking or whether I'm doing some content for YouTube. So that's really quite straightforward. The bottom one, as I say, is just for comfort, but I can also use this little hoop here to put my camera in. So it's really quite handy again for when I'm doing content. So the shoulder straps both each have a pocket in them, and these are actually designed to have a smart water bottle put in them. So it does work really well for that, but I personally don't like having my water kind of so close to my face, so that's not what I use it for. What I tend to do is in this side, I just have, if I can get it out, my little Kestrel kind of wind monitor, and then on this side is where I would just put my phone. There. So I find that it's really quite easy to get your phone in and out of that without really paying any attention. And obviously, as usual, you would just have like kind of the ability to cinch in your shoulder straps using these little cinches. I've now got wet knees from kneeling on the grass, showing you my shoulder straps, so you're going to have to ignore them. So as I kind of touched on before, I've simplified the main kind of design of the Prospector. I've removed kind of a lot of the straps that go on. So all I've got are these two straps either side. So if I undo them, we end up with the top of the roll top here, and it's just got two little poppers which you can open there. So at the top, at the moment, I've just got my tent. So now that I've took that tent out, I can show you an example of how I'd be able to pack this down now. So, spin it around. Just use these little poppers, clip them together, and then you can just use the roll top now to roll it down. So as you can see now, because I've rolled it down quite a lot, there's a lot of cinching to be done there. So I'll bring that down. So as you can see now, significantly shorter than it was before, because originally it was up here. So this is probably now floating around about 50 litres, and you can actually make it go down a little bit further if you needed to bring it down to around about 45. So it's a very, very flexible design having this roll top. It's also one of the reasons why I decided to get rid of the compression straps that come standard on the Prospector models. Essentially, I'm only ever going to use this backpack when I can fill it at least this much. If I don't have enough to fill it this much, I'm just going to use my 35 litre and fill that to the max. So there's never really going to come a time when I'm going to need to compress it in at all. Compression straps are something that I don't particularly like on backpacks. They're not something that I use, and because I was getting this custom made, I took the opportunity to just not include them. Right, so I'm going to move on now and show you the 35 litre backpack. I'm not going to go over all the same things because they're both very similar designs. I'm just going to show you the differences between the two. Right then, so this is based on the Atom design, and as you saw before, it's able to kind of fold away because there's no frame on it, but unlike the Atom, it does have a proper hip belt, which is similar to the Pulse or the Atom Plus as it used to be called. One of the things that I did get on this is on the inside there's like a little pouch similar to a hydration bladder pouch, and what that allows me to do is that allows me to put a frame in if I want, or you can use one of your sit pads and kind of put that in there. So it allows you to put like a little tiny bit of padding on here. But the way that I pack my quilts and things like that, it actually provides the support that I need on the back anyway. So as you can see, it uses the same webbing design as the other backpack, which means that the crampon pouch can go in the middle and the utility pouch can go over the top. As I said before, it allows this pack to be able to go anywhere from maybe 20 litres all the way up to 45 litres once you include the pouch. This pack does also have the zip, but as I did mention before, because this doesn't have a frame, it doesn't kind of come out and contour to your back, which is what actually gives it that little bit of room. What I'm going to do now is I've actually got a couple of quilts in this backpack just to kind of fill it up. So I'm going to take one of them out and I'm going to fill the 35 litre with it just so that you can see it while it's full. Spin it around and then just roll it over. I'm just going to roll this once just so you can see what it would look like at its maximum fullness. So as you can see, quite a lot smaller than the 60 litres, but I actually find that I use this almost all of the time. Because over the last couple of years I've gone so ultralight and replaced all my gear with much smaller, much more packable things, I find that I do very rarely need to go beyond this. At the most I tend to put the pouch on the back. As I say, that makes it about a 45 litre. So this big one tends to only get used for multi-day hikes or when I'm kind of going posh camping, where I'm going to take like pans and things like that and cook kind of interesting meals. So next week or the week after, whenever I get a weather window, I'm going to be going up Ben Nevis and doing a wild camp, but I'm going to be climbing up one of the grade 1 or 2 gullies. So what I'm going to be doing with that is I won't be putting the utility pouch on. This is going to be kind of packed with all of my winter gear, but the bare minimal winter gear. So it's going to essentially be around about this big. So as you can see, it's a really quite slimline backpack, which is perfect for doing more technical winter things. And because it still has got enough in there to put my camping stuff, it allows me to do kind of more adventurous kind of wild camps, like doing the CMD arete or going up gullies, things like that. And this is what it looks like when I'm doing camps in the winter or the summer, where I just need that extra little bit of space. So what I'll do here is I'll just pop the ice axes on, just so you can see what it would look like. Go. So that's what it looks like when it's kind of in its full technical mode. So there you can see it's a really quite slimline pack, perfect for doing the kind of more technical wild camps where you're going up gullies or doing ridges and things like that. So at the bottom of each backpack there's also this kind of under pocket, which is designed really for food storage. So the idea is that you would put all of your snacks and bars in here, you put your hand in the bottom to take them out, and then after you've finished with it and you've got your wrapper, you've got this little kind of corner cut out here where you then stuff the used wrapper in the back. So what you end up with is you fill this side full of used wrappers as you kind of empty this side full of your bars. Brilliant design. But because I do all of my hiking fasted, what I actually find this really useful for is to be putting my cleats in. So this is where I keep my cleats. It's absolutely brilliant to be able to access your cleats without having to take your backpack off. I do always find that if you have to take your backpack off to put your cleats on, you end up putting them on way later than you should. So being able to do that while you've still got your backpack on is an absolute game changer for me. So even though it's designed for snacks, cleats do work a treat in there. So just an idea in case you've not thought of it. So this is them both side by side. As you can see, there's a bit of a size difference between the two. This is the 60 litre, this is the 35 litre. Essentially I use this one most of the time. This is my more technical winter one or my summer backpack. And this one is for doing multi-day camps or for doing kind of posh camping, where I'm going to take loads of pots and pans and fresh food and things like that and just have a really nice time. So there you go. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you feel that you got anything from it, please do subscribe and like the video. It really does help. I put a lot of work into these videos and I'm trying very hard at the moment to grow the channel, so every little helps and it's really appreciated. If you've got any comments or suggestions, drop that down below. I do reply to every single one. So thanks again, and I'll see you next time.